One of the biggest lies advanced in this whole Iran debate is the idea that President advances that Iran would never use nuclear weapons. That is completely fictitious. Iran will absolutely use nuclear weapons once they have them, and here's why. There are two reasons. First, it has nothing to do with religion, it's geopolitical. But you need a lesson in history first. In 722 BCE, the Assyrians, not the Syrians, the Assyrians, were the dominant power in the area. They conquered the whole Middle East, including Judea, which is now Israel. They conquered the northern 10 tribes, not Judea, and they sent the 10 tribes dispersed in the world, and that's why we have what's called the 10 lost tribes. The Assyrians were then conquered by the Babylonians, who then dominated the area and conquered the remaining tribe, Judah, where Jerusalem was, and they destroyed the temple that had been built by King Solomon, and they sent the Jews back to Babylonia, which used to be the country of Iraq, which is now disintegrated. That was 586. Then the Persians conquered the Babylonians, that's the Iranians today, which existed way before there was Islam. And the Persians let the Jews at that time go back and rebuild the temple. And they were conquered by the Greeks, who then were followed by the Romans, and they destroyed the second temple the Jews had rebuilt in the year 70. And this is still about 550 years before Islam ever even occurred. Now, Iran wants to be the Persian Empire. They remember Persian Empire. It wasn't that long ago in terms of human history. It was 2,400 years. And so they have grandiose ideas. And Obama even says he wants Iran to be the regional power. Well, if you look at a map, the only other thing standing in their way is Israel, with the other powerful force in the neighborhood. And they would have to destroy Israel, just like the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, all wanted to dominate Judea, and then the Romans changed the name to Palestine. And so for simple geopolitical reasons, since Iran is a fascistic, totalitarian country, they will want to destroy Israel. Can you imagine the grandiose history of the Persian Empire? If they got rid of Israel, it would be 1,000 years from now just another note in the history books, just like all these other countries. And so that's number one, why they will want to destroy Israel. But number two is religious, and you have to take this into consideration, and it's completely dismissed by Obama, either for stupid reasons or because he really is trying to pull the wool over our eyes. And that is, if you understand Shia philosophy and theology of Islam, they believe that there is a 12th hidden Imam that must emerge for their kind of utopian messianic era, and to do that requires a cataclysmic catastrophe. I will put a note here at the bottom of the video with a link so you can read more about this if you're interested. So can you imagine in the grandiose history of Islam, if the Persian Empire, if Iran is credited with destroying Israel, all it would take is a couple of nukes. And so what if Israel would retaliate with 5 nuclear bombs at cities? It'd be too late. What does Iran care if it loses 5 cities? They don't care about their population. They've already said they're willing to lose millions for the grand historical fact of killing all these Jews. They chant all the time, Israel should be destroyed, death to Israel. They say it almost every day. And to think that they wouldn't use it against the United States, they know that they would get pummeled. But would the United States really destroy all of Iran? I doubt Obama would. And so what have they got to lose? They chant every day, death to the United States, the great Satan. And so it's pretty clear for these two reasons that Iran will absolutely use nuclear weapons. You have to understand the depths of their fascistic, totalitarian geopolitical strategy and of the Shia philosophy of the hidden Imam. Those are the two main reasons. And now, is Obama too stupid to see this? No, he's not a stupid man, but he's done everything he can to advance Islamism, and that should be clear. No one's really willing to say that, except for a few very smart people who are unafraid. But look what he's done. He wanted Muslim Brotherhood terrorists to control Egypt. He was so happy when Morsi became head of Egypt. He gave him $1.5 billion in our F-16s. He was furious when he was deposed. He's hired many Muslim Brotherhoods in the high levels of the U.S. administration. He continues to attack Christianity for things that happened 1,000 years ago, but when Muslims do terrible things in the world or the United States, he says it has nothing to do with Islam, and he won't even call it, he calls it workplace violence. He's forbidden the FBI and CIA and police forces to use the word Islam in their manuals. I mean, this man he's not fighting the Sunni ISIS in any significant way. He's pretending to fight them. I mean, look at the facts and stop letting your political blinders influence you on this. And these sanctions have always been ridiculous. They never could stop Iran. We could bring Iran to its knees with sanctions, and still, which we're not doing now. We've lifted sanctions. We're going to give them $150 billion to advance their terrorism all over the world. And we've given them a clear path to more ICBMs. As Netanyahu always says, you don't need ICBMs to hit Israel. They've got plenty of missiles for that. ICBMs are for one purpose. You put nuclear tips on them and you attack Europe and the Great Satan, which they are constantly saying they want to destroy. The president of Iran, the week we were finalizing the Iran deal, was at rallies where they were burning the American flag and burning the Israeli flag and saying, death to Israel, the small Satan, death to the Great Satan. We really need a Churchill now. Churchill by himself held up the British Empire. And when Chamberlain made the appeasement deal with Hitler, he said, you had a choice between dishonor and war. You chose dishonor and will get war. Well, that's what's going to happen now. This could well be the World War III. It's certainly going to lead to war. It's also going to lead to a proliferation of nuclear weapons throughout the Middle East. Don't forget, you also have the Ottomans, the Turks, who remember the Ottoman Empire, which controlled most of the area. And you also have Egypt, which has been around way longer than Islam and dominated the area for a long period 3,000 years ago. And so we have a very dangerous situation here, aided and abetted by the President of the United States, and it's just completely foolish not to take Iran at its word when it says it plans to destroy Israel. And this will be on the shoulders of everybody who supports this deal, every Democratic voter in the Congress and the House who supports this deal. And certainly will be on the shoulders of Obama. But he probably wants a world rid of Israel. There are many, many indications of, during this whole thing, he had a dinner to end Ramadan at the White House, and he sat with longtime Israel haters. 30 years ago, he was having dinner with Edward Said and Rashid Khalidi, two vicious anti-Israel Palestinian leaders. And so to believe that Iran should not be taken at its word is completely foolish for both geopolitical reasons and reasons emanating out of Islamic history.